Okay, I've got 25 and a half. We're going once, going twice. All in, fair warned, and sold.
You're listening to the How's It Goin Podcast.
Tony Abbott in Budgie Smugglers.
Yeah, no.
Interest rate cut
for the election.
Interest rate cut, Charles. Interest rate cut down 0.25.
I just want milk that tastes like real milk.
What do you mean the bank is out of money? Insolvent?
Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Well, how's it going? I'm here with Christian Karamatich, Madison Phipps, and I am Ben Spiteri, and we decided to make a podcast. What a great idea.
I don't know whose idea that was, Ben, but yeah, here we are.
I think it was yours. So when it all goes downhill, we're blaming you.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'll cop the blame. But I'll also cop the credit when it inevitably succeeds.
Oh, I like the... I don't know what I like. Actually, I've frozen up.
Well, Ben, would you like to tell the people what exactly they're actually going to be listening to, what they're in for with this podcast? What's the idea?
That's a great idea. I think what we're really going to be touching on is property as a whole.
The ins and outs and stuff you don't normally get to hear on an everyday basis, the curbside confessions, if you will.
I like that.
I like that too. Not bad. Look, on today's episode, we're more so just over the next two episodes, actually, we're going to be covering off just some of the steps in the home buying process, what you need to know, what you've got to do at each step and what it entails, some tips and tricks, some do's and don'ts and everything in between, I reckon.
Sounds like a good shout.
Yeah, I reckon we go around and we introduce to the people who we are and what we actually do and why we feel that we're qualified to even be sitting here talking to people. Ben, would you like to start?
I'm definitely not qualified to be here. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I'm a gentleman. Ladies first.
I'll go first. So I'm Madison Phipps. I am a real estate agent and I've been in the industry for 8 years now. I was a property manager for 5 years coming into the industry. I've now been in sales for 3 years. I tap into resi, commercial, everything in between, whatever I'm allowed to do, I'll do it. And yeah, I think that's it from me. Ben?
Well said. Very well said. Well, I'm Ben Spiteri. I am... I should have worked this out before. I think I'm nearly 6 years in the industry. Same as Mad, started in property management and moved my way up to sales. Pretty similar, resi, a little bit of commercial and
everything
in between. Whoever will sign up with us.
Whatever he's allowed to sell, he'll sell it.
Exactly right. I'll sell a dream.
Livestock, anything. You want a car?
Not anymore. Those days are gone. It's property now. I am the odd man out in this podcast. My name is Christian Karamatich. I'm a mortgage broker because you can't have a podcast about property without having a guy who knows at least something about finance, or so I like to think. I do have a bachelor's degree in economics and finance, so I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. I probably don't, but let a man dream.
As long as you sound confident, I'm sure we'll get there.
Oh, that I can do.
Definitely the most qualified here, the only one with a university degree. And
that doesn't make anyone qualified for anything, I can tell you that much. All right, so first step in the home buying process is working out how much you want to spend, or more realistically in today's market, how much you can actually spend. Obviously, the main way you work that out is by talking to either a bank or someone like myself, like a broker. It's really important to know what you can actually afford in the market. Otherwise, what's the point?
What is the benefit of speaking to a bank or to a broker?
Well, if you speak to a broker, you get to speak to someone wonderful and amazing like me. I think that's a pretty massive benefit personally. No, but when you talk to a bank, you're locked into just that particular bank's policies and requirements. You've got no leeway. When you talk to a broker, generally speaking, if they're a decent broker, should be accredited with a multitude of lending institutions, not even just banks. Yeah. When you take that into account, you've got more options. You're not tied into that one bank's policy. There's many random little credit policy niches that this bank will do that bank won't.
So it's like shopping at David Jones rather than H&M.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Well, okay. I mean, they're both overall department
stores. You would link it to shopping. Yeah.
No, it gives you more variety, more choice, more options, which is not always a good thing. Some people don't like choice, but in this particular setting, I'd say it is probably a good thing.
Where does the Bank of Mum and Dad fit into this lending procedure?
Well, I don't get paid for the Bank of Mum and Dad, so it doesn't benefit me personally. No, but there's a range of ways that the bank and mum and dad can come into play. We can probably touch on some of those a little bit later on, I'd say.
Perfect.
Yeah. In terms of some other initial first steps, what about you guys? What do people, I mean, I feel like a lot of people will generally approach you guys before they even approach me. So what do you reckon? What do people need to do to get ready?
Some people go down different routes. I feel a lot of people, first home buyers, are now engaging in buyer's agents. That's definitely something that's become super popular as of late. I don't know if they think they get, more insights, properties that are off the market, securing a deal if it's not going onto the open market, calling up different real estate agents, their offices, giving them your buyer's profile. What are you looking for? Beds, bath, cars. What location do you want to be in? What's your budget? Getting on their databases, getting on their VIP list.
Can I ask a question there? Now, forgive me if this is ignorant of me, but you talk about like shortlists and databases and things like that. Do they, what do they do? Do they actually serve any purpose? Like if I come to you and say, hey, put me in your database for a 4-bedroom townhouse in Wollongong, what does that actually do?
Well, you'd hope that the agent is going to keep your details. If they have anything that fits your criteria, they'll reach out.
Will they reach out before it hits the market? Like, does it give you an advantage, an edge?
Generally, it's something that we've done in the past.
We do sometimes do a sneak preview coming soon. However, at the end of the day, we work for the vendor. We would always tell our vendor to go to the market. It's not always the best buyer. It's how many buyers you have is what's going to get you the best result at the end of the day. So even though you can get in first and potentially, look, they may be in a position where they really have to sell and quickly. They've already purchased another home. Things like death, divorce do come into a play. You may have an opportunity
the fun stuff,
the 4Ds. You may get to jump in and have a bit of an opportunity. But for the most case, it usually will go to the open market, yes.
So what I'm hearing is it can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
I don't get anything out of it, but it can't hurt.
Definitely
Exactly
can't
right.
hurt.
I always
People know who you
wondered
are.
if you guys have these really long databases and these
Oh,
lists,
they're
like
extensive. They
hundreds of
definitely are
names and-
extensive.
I mean, I think we were talking about this the other day, though, Ben, where how good would it be if you actually had an automated system, right? Where, you could input someone's details.
Don't sell our $1 million idea, Christian.
Business ID. We've got
ID.
our IT guy, Dom, over there in the background. He's licking his lips right now.
Yeah. There's probably one already out there. We just haven't got it.
Very true. No, that 100% would work. If you had a data profile on every buyer out there, the moment you put a property in, it meets their criteria, you call them straight away.
We may be able to retire next year.
Exactly right.
We get this going.
We don't need to get it going. We just need to sell the rights and which agent buys it off us. That's all. That's our retirement money. All right. Well, cool. Let's say, as a first home buyer, as an example of these, you've approached a bank or a broker. You've approached a real estate agent. You have the information. You know what you can afford to borrow. What do you do from there?
You should be attending multiple open homes. Get an idea of what's in the marketplace,
what you like,
what you
don't like.
Exactly right. What you can afford as well.
Do you want to walk through wardrobe into your bathroom? Do you just want an ensuite? Do you want 7 bedrooms or 6?
Yeah.
It's
A lot of the time it's the budget constraint is the issue there. I know my wife would like the white picket fence and the 4-bedroom house with the pool, but the budget's not there for it. So you take what you can get.
Even location, you may think, oh my God, I can never see myself living in this suburb, and you may attend multiple open inspections, go for a coffee before the open home, go get lunch after the open home, and then realize I actually really do and can see myself living in this suburb. Even say for a house, so many people, we want a house. We don't want strata. We don't want this. We don't want that. Then you actually hear the benefits of what strata can actually give you, and you realize the low maintenance living, and it's a stepping stone. You don't overexert yourself.
And it's great until you have to go to strata meetings.
Well, exactly right. Well, you don't have to go to them. You don't have to go to them.
Trust me, you should.
Never been.
Neither have I, and that's where the problems start arising. But
yeah.
No, cool. Okay. Well, look, from a finance point of view, the other thing you should do once you start attending these open homes and seeing Ben and Madison's wonderful faces every weekend for months on end, you should make sure you're loaded with a pre-approval.
Yes.
For those that don't know, what a pre-approval does is the bank basically ticks off all the boxes from a credit point of view that it can. The only one that it can't tick off in advance, obviously, is the collateral, which would be the property that you buy, because you don't know what you're going to buy yet. Depends what Ben and Maddie have to offer.
Yeah.
The pre-approval, basically, you tick all the boxes, you get approved up to and including a set maximum. So I usually say to people, go for the maximum you realistically would be prepared to spend. The idea is you don't want to spend to the max, obviously, but for the sake of not missing out, over $1,000 at an auction, go up to your maximum and then work your way back down because it covers you up to and including.
Yeah.
a certain
Pre-approval is
maximum.
super important as well when it comes into your offer.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
well.
A really important step. If you're competing against multiple buyers and you're not pre-approved, you're most likely going to miss out. If someone's there ready to go, pre-approved, have their deposit, have their conveyancer ready to go, you're going to lose on just pure that they're quicker. They could even have a lesser offer.
Yeah.
We've had that in the past. If
Exactly.
someone's ready to exchange that week, the vendor may be willing to take $10,000, $20,000, $30,000.
Or even a difference of a 5-day cooling off period just due to a valuation or a digital valuation rather than having to give the 10 days plus for you to even go and see a broker and you couldn't even afford the property in some cases.
Yep.
You may put an offer in and not even realize and you've wasted everybody's time.
Yeah.
So it definitely is important to go and get that pre-approval first.
In a competitive
Absolutely.
marketplace, jumped in there, you want to have every box ticked.
I think so. And I mean, look, realistically, from a point of view of sales, I guess, I'm sure you guys can tell me, but I feel like at the moment, the listing times, the times that properties are actually on the market is not long.
It's not long. Anything under our, 1.3, 1.4 million, it's like 2 weeks and we've got an offer on the table.
Do you guys have a target when it comes to like how long? a
Less
property's
the
on
better.
market?
Obviously. Less the better.
Less the better, 100%.
Less
But
the better.
At the same
Naturally.
time, you're willing to last or take longer to try and secure a higher offer.
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
property dependent. Sometimes you can get an offer in the first few days.
Yeah.
You had that in the last fortnight, I think.
Yeah.
And another time you're waiting. I had one we ticked over 14 months.
14
Yeah,
months.
14 months. But
14
sometimes
months.
it does take 14 months to get that asking price.
Exactly.
Even, and it's like we say, shoot for the stars and you can land there. There's definitely opportunities to land there, but it will take you longer. And it comes down to that pre-approval. Someone may be in a rush. You have someone holding out for that right price.
Yeah.
We have our different vendors. Yeah.
I mean, look, if I was selling a property, I wouldn't wait 14 months personally. What do I know at the end of the day? No, but look, that's pretty much it. I think the other thing that you can do, just before I forget to touch on it, is one thing you need in the process of buying a property is you need a conveyancer.
Yeah.
A conveyancer being a solicitor, for lack of a better phrasing, someone who specifically deals with property, because everything now is done electronically, and your conveyancer is the person who acts on your behalf in terms of contract signings and the final settlement.
Just advice, even.
Correct.
General
100%.
advice.
Absolutely.
And it's someone that you can trust and know
correct.
as well.
It's somebody you want on your team, and you want someone you can trust in
Even
your
with
team.
a solicitor, and again, we can go into conveyancers versus solicitors. A solicitor, you can start a relationship off from very, very early on, and they can carry out into, late stages of life, depending on...
Help you write your will.
Help you write your will, exactly. You really want someone that you can trust and build that relationship and that rapport with. Conveyancers are great. I mean, we deal with so many good ones and we have so many great local ones, but also we are seeing a lot of people using those solicitors, people that they have those really genuine relationships with.
It's important. At the end of the day, you're not the one that's going to sit there and skim through a 74-page contract of sale, right?
100%.
That's what you pay your conveyancer for, realistically.
Exactly right.
So I always recommend to my customers personally, engage a conveyancer at the same time we're organising a pre-approval. Have it ready. So that way, when you get your pre-approval, the right property comes up, you're keen on it, you're not dragging your feet. You can say, get me the contract, send it straight to my conveyancer. My conveyancer is on standby, ready to go. Let's do it.
Exactly right.
Because again, you don't want to be dragging your feet at the end of the day. Next thing that we wanted to talk about was making offers and what happens when you actually have an offer accepted on a house, because everybody's very quick to go, 1.1 million. Not many people actually know what to do once the agent calls them back and goes, hey, the vendor is accepted. Speaking of, we've got two of those agents who will call you and say they've accepted right here next to me, and they're going to shed some very useful insight on that. So,
well, the first
Kick
thing
us
is I was going to, but
Kick it
all
off.
good.
make it interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm trying. First thing is, people always say, I don't know, I get a lot of first home buyers, even, people of all ages saying, how do I make an offer? Should I make an offer? This is my budget. Should I make an offer?
Is it like a scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where you got to throw your hand in the air, scream out a really loud number?
Enough with the movies. I don't watch movies.
So for those listening on, Madison has dropped bombshells on us today that she just doesn't watch movies.
Just any movie
We've
reference.
made multiple movie references and she's got none of them.
None. Straight over my head. No idea. I'll just laugh and smile and pretend I know what you're talking
No,
about.
it's just like it's just selling Sunset. We'll use TV shows. She watches those.
Haven't even watched that.
Oh my gosh!
You remind me a bit of one of the characters on there. But anyway, making an offer.
Didn't take long for us to get sidetracked.
I've so many people come to me and they say, how do you make an offer? What do I need to do to make an offer? And my number one thing is if it's close to your budget, if it's within your budget, just make it. What the worst a vendor can do is come back and say, sorry, no. Yeah. And I mean, it is our job to negotiate between both parties back and forth and for everyone to be happy at the end of the day. But the worst thing that we can come back to you is say no. We're not going to eat you. You're not signed to a contract saying you have to buy it. Even if your offer gets accepted, you still don't have to buy it.
100%. I think a lot of people panic in that situation. Yeah. If you put an offer in writing, you're not held to it. You're not anything. Like, obviously, we don't want you to make offers and then withdraw on us because we look a bit stupid.
Yeah.
But
that's what makes you look stupid.
Just because you
got your haircut.
Wow. No. Yeah, you're not held to it. You make an offer, you send us your terms, you send us your price, we have a discussion with the owner and we get back to you pretty much. If your offer is accepted, I guess the next step is that we organise getting some details from you. We generally want the full name of the people, full names of the people going on the contract, mobile numbers, emails,
residential address,
details,
list of details.
Yeah,
that's
just all the general stuff. If that, can you pay a 5%, 10% deposit if you need an extra settlement? If you can settle within the normal 42 days, usually if you ask the agent, they will have a template. Saying, hey, can you just send me the offer form? I mean, you can definitely make an offer without an offer form. That's not an issue at all, as long as it's in writing, email or text.
Yep.
It's not formal if it's verbal. But if you do ask the vendor for an offer form, the real estate agent for an offer form, they will genuinely give you one and you can have a bit of a rough guide of what information you do need to provide.
Okay. Well, that's all well and good. What about if you go on an auction? We're gonna ask
spanner in the works for us.
I forgot my job for a second.
I don't know why you both froze when I asked that question. What is auction?
Well, I know you would know. He is the auctioneer champion of Wollongong. He's going in his third year running this year to become the champ.
So glad you said it, Natty, because I was going to go straight into the kill with that one.
But that's all right.
He's lost a few years, but you know what? We're on the train to win.
I'm a champ. I keep getting back up.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep getting back up, Ben. That's it.
I think, you know what, Ben, on that note, I think it's only appropriate that you then walk us through auction process.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Even perform an auction for us.
We won't be performing an auction. There is some on YouTube with my name. Please don't Google it.
Google it. Benjamin Spiteri.
Great. So steps leading up to an auction. Similar in the sense that you will still be getting a contract of sale. You still want to have a conversation with your conveyancer to go through all the terms and conditions prior to auction. And you would have already wanted to speak to a broker or a bank to work out your budget, because there's nothing worse than showing up on auction day and potentially overspending, because if you buy the property at auction, you are locked in.
So just to butt in, you remember before when Ben and Maddie were saying, it's okay, it's not that formal. You can even fill out an offer form and it's still not formal.
Yeah.
An auction is. If you raise your hand or raise a paddle at an auction and you win, you are on the day required to sign the contract and pay the deposit. You have to pay over a 10 or 5% deposit on the day of the auction.
Correct.
There is and you are liable for that.
You can run away if you want. Ben have heard stories of that when we were doing the course. Yes, people have tried to take off.
Ben's got pretty long legs. I don't know. They're the only ones touching the ground over here.
I have seen Ben run on a soccer field. He will catch you.
Yep, I will catch you. No, but as the auctioneer, they have the authority to sign on your behalf, so you are locked in.
Correct.
At the fall of the hammer, if you are the highest bidder, you are the purchaser.
Correct. On that same token, I'm going to circle back a little bit just so people understand the difference between when you're locked in paying a deposit versus something called a cooling off period.
Yep.
Yes.
So obviously with auctions, there is no cooling off. So if you're going to an auction, completely disregard what we're about to talk about. But if you are privately negotiating, they call it offer via private treaty, where you're making an offer directly to the agents. You are entitled to ask for something called a cooling off period. And I'm going to hand it over to either Ben or Madison to talk us through what that actually means.
Your broker or solicitor or conveyancer will usually guide you in a way to say whether you do need a cooling off period or whether you don't. You probably should know whether you do need one. It's very rare. I mean, I'm talking first home buyers generally, that you will be able to exchange unconditionally unless, the property is a quieter one and you do have time to just kind of go through the motions and secure it while the property is still on the market. When you are making an offer, you should make it clear whether you are needing a 5 or 10 day cooling off period. During that time, I mean, most of the time now we do have those building inspections pre-done, strata reports pre-done. You should be able to look at them prior to making your offer. But your cooling off periods of time for you to, get your formal approval done, get that valuation done.
We're gonna wind it back and dumb it down even further. For those that don't know, what a cooling off period does, it enables you to sign the contract of sale.
I jumped the gun.
You sign the contract and exchange it, but what it does, it's like an insurance policy.
Yes.
If you go to auction and the hammer drops and you win, you pay the deposit on that day and you are locked in. You have to go through with the settlement. If you don't, they keep your deposit.
Yes.
With a cooling off period, though,
You only have to pay a 0.25% deposit,
Yes.
so a much smaller amount.
Correct.
And then you have 5 to 10 days.
Business days.
Business days, yes, and not excluding public holidays. You have that time, and then at the end of that, you have no problems. You've got your formal approval.
Correct.
You've got everything you need. Then you will need to pay that remainder 5 or 10% deposit, or whatever that was negotiated within that offer.
Correct. It's quite literally an insurance policy. You can basically sign a contract, take a property off the market so no one else can come in and snake you, but you're not legally obligated to it. Whilst you're under the cooling off period, you can basically pull out of the contract, basically dip, do whatever you need to do, pull out completely, and you're not liable for the full 5 or 10% deposit.
Yeah, you're only
that's-
forfeiting that 0.25.
Correct.
Which,
Still is not
Good
fun.
insurance.
It's not
but
great,
It's
but-
much better than losing a 5 or 10%.
No, exactly right. But that's when you're doing your due diligence in that period of
That's
time.
it.
Had to throw that word in, make myself look
that's
smart.
It.
Correct.
You look really smart.
Yeah, and like Matt said, organise your
word
pest
there.
and building, organise your strata report, and just ensure everything is Mickey Mouse and good
Yeah.
to go.
It's really in your solicitor or conveyancer's point in their hands at that point. They'll guide you of everything you kind of need and
I would
give you that
say
advice.
current trends, like 90%
pass
of
it back into our
transaction.
hands?
Oh, no, I was going to say like 10 days.
Oh, 10 days,
10
yes.
days
Oh.
is 5 days is standard and
Yeah.
is what's on the contract, but I would say majority of people are asking.
Yeah.
And I'm
for a
going
10-day cooling
to
off.
butt in and explain why. I'm the
please
reason.
do.
I am the reason.
Please
You
do.
are
I
the
want to
problem.
know. I want to
You're
know.
the problem. Our
I
vendors
am, I am the problem.
are not
Um,
happy.
No, look,
Work faster.
I try. It's not. I'm not the one that's slow. It's the banks that are slow.
Oh, we're blaming the banks.
Blame the banks. We all do.
It's a great Australian tradition. It's a part of our culture. We blame the banks for everything.
Second real estate agent.
Mortgage brokers are a hot third.
Yes.
Anyway, no, look, I encourage literally every single one of my clients, I will always say to them, if it is possible, request the cooling off period. And that is
Thanks for
because,
that.
I don't know if you recall, I mentioned in the previous segment, when I do a pre-approval with somebody, it covers off all the boxes that we possibly can, bar one. The one that can't be covered by the pre-approval is the collateral property.
Yes.
The way that banks verify that they're happy to take the property you've bought as collateral is they will make me do a valuation. Now, obviously, banks are moving towards digital for everything, including valuations. A lot of the time, if there's a signed contract of sale, that's usually the best indication of what a property's worth, right? Is how much somebody's prepared
Willing
to
to
actually
pay
pay
for
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
But that being said, the banks generally will have their own little internal automated systems, and they will basically, I'll put in the details of the property, and their system will decide whether it needs a full valuation with a full inspection. And if that is the case, that can take a few days. Then I've got to send it back to the bank for a final review and a final approval, which can take another few days. All of a sudden, with just those two actions, you've used up a whole week.
Sounds like a couple hours work to me, but
On my end, yeah. Then it's got to sit in a queue, Madison. I don't control the queues.
If you can get away with the desktop valuation, you are cheering.
Yeah,
yes,
correct.
100%.
Look, the moral of the story is once your offer is accepted, there's still work to do. You're not done. Even if you have your finance teed up beforehand, you're not done. There's still more to do. And it's basically a case of once that offer is accepted, you're basically going to spend the whole day on the phone.
Yes.
Between your conveyancer, your broker, the agent, whoever else, you're going to be on the phone most of the day.
Yeah.
Which that leads into my next point, because one thing that people always ask me about is pre-auction offers. So obviously, if a property is listed as going to auction, it is common practice that people will still make offers prior to the auction, because ideally, you don't want to go to auction. Auction is last resort as a buyer. Great for a seller, not great for a buyer.
There is definitely certain times where offers will be taken prior to auction. I know some agents use it as a strategy for it to be a call to action. So the property is going to go on this day. If you want it, make an offer before.
Mm-hmm.
There is some agents out there that will strictly only do an auction and will not take an offer prior. They want to have, the show on the day, get everyone in the room, get, adrenaline
Listen to Ben's
going.
silky smooth voice
Yes.
running the auction.
Emotions are high. You're not going to bid against yourself. You can see other people in the room want it. And when you really get emotional about that property,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to offer. You're going to keep going. People do also not take offers prior to auction. Divorce, if there's a solicitor involved, it has to go to auction on that day. There's other, What would the other reasons be?
I guess they all link back to transparency.
Yeah.
If you've got every bidder who is obviously willing to buy the property in one room, and that's when they're going to sort out who's going to buy it, who's going to bid the most, it's the most transparent way to do it. You've got an agent in between sometimes who's going to take offers and potentially, unfortunately, some would say that, all would say, you're getting people that maybe come up with offers that aren't actually there, or buyers that aren't there.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors, exactly right.
Yeah.
When you're in an auction, it is the most transparent way to handle the transaction because everyone there is a genuine bidder. They've had to register. They've done all their due diligence.
Which makes people worried, which does make people worried because they're thinking, oh my God, if I don't have to stand in that room with the 20 other people that want to buy it on the day and I can put my offer in beforehand, you can do it. And sometimes...
Guys, auctions are stressful.
They are stressful.
I speak for everybody listening. Auctions are stressful.
Yeah. Being there in that moment.
Everyone, like the buyers, the agent,
the vendor. Yeah.
Like the vendor, you're thinking this is the most valuable asset they have ever owned or they will ever own.
And it's sentimental.
And they're putting it out to an open forum to see who's going to pay the most money.
And sometimes people aren't bidding. Sometimes you go the opposite route. Again, probably a bit of a detour on our track, but sometimes there isn't anyone bidding, and that's also a reason for transparency where you can negotiate after auction.
Exactly right.
What I'm hearing from what you guys are saying is
we're honest people.
Well,
we're honest people.
Keep reiterating.
I would like to think that's implied.
Yes.
I'm not going to comment on that matter, but I was going to say it sounds a lot like it's a case-by-case basis, right? So in terms of whether you can make an offer pre-auction, whether you can negotiate after the auction.
Just make offers, everyone. Just make offers.
Just throw it out there.
Like I said earlier, the worst thing that the vendor can say is
no. That's exactly.
It. The other thing I want to touch on, you mentioned it before, Ben, building and pest inspection. Talk me, what's a building and pest inspection? What do I need to know?
Oh, this could get me in trouble. Building and pest inspection.
Ben's a pest.
We will, yes. Yep.
He's building towards being better.
We engage generally a builder, or someone with a builder's license to go out and do an inspection of the property. They will put in a report, pretty much everything that's wrong with the property. As an agent, it can really ruin a sale sometimes for us because they can find things that no one saw,
termites?
No one thought
who would
were
have
there.
thought?
Exactly right. So as a buyer, you could save yourself, hey, I just saved $1 million and didn't buy a house with termites.
But also
it's
can tell you what
due diligence, right?
But also what you need to do to the property,
Yeah.
It's just that having that
there's a leak in the roof.
Yeah.
There's any kind of number of little things, right?
Moving in what you need to do, and you may make your offer based on how bad the building inspection is. You may say, I need 30 grand to rectify that work. I'm going to offer 30 grand less than what I thought I would need to in order to complete that work.
That can definitely happen in your calling off period. You can renegotiate on that basis.
Yeah, it's literally just happened to me. I had a property 1.25. The building report came back. A lot of issues that we didn't know were there.
Did you order the building and pest inspection yourself?
Prior to going on the market, no, the vendor didn't want one. So I 95%
tell me
of the
your
time,
secrets. Tell me you're keeping secrets without telling me you're keeping secrets.
95% of the time, I would always get a building and pest report prior to going on the market. In this instance, it's a block of units, multiple tenants living in there. It was going to be a really hard case of getting all those tenants lined up to get that building report. So we said, you know what, when we've got a genuine buyer at our mark, we'll look at doing it then, in which we did. And a few of those issues came back and the purchaser was able to negotiate a 50 grand price difference. So 1.25 to 1.2 pretty quickly, but it's either that or the vendor was going to have to walk away with no sale and have to do those items anyway. So, I mean, it is a point of negotiation. I don't want, again, that's a curbside secret. Don't everyone go negotiating based off a leaking tap.
I'm going to take that even a step further. I usually say to my clients, don't trust the agent's building and pest inspections. I always encourage people to order their own, just because I've actually had experiences. I've had clients. I'm sorry, I'm revealing all your secrets. I know. No, look, a lot of agents are honest, like Ben and Maddie. Some agents are not. There's a reason that agents have a bad reputation, just like brokers do. I'm not. We have pretty shocking reputations.
We're all used car salesmen.
Pretty much. But one thing I always say to people, look, if you think something's wrong, it probably is. Order your own, because they only cost $200-$300. And in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about
more like $550.
Depends.
For P&B.
Depends how detailed it is.
If you're getting them done for $300, I need the contact.
Who are you using?
No further questions. I plead the fifth.
Picked them up on Craigslist.
I think the point Ben and Maddie are trying to make is you want to be confident, right?
Yeah.
completely understand it. That's
Yeah.
what we say
We're
to
going to be
buyers.
replacing you really soon,
Yeah.
Christian. Really soon. We're going to be
I'm
putting
asking,
up on a
I'm asking you all the questions. I'm trying to make you guys sound smart.
Seek.com. Look, we're looking for a new co-host. All good.
Has to have finance experience, preferably not a smart ass. That's about all we have time for in today's episode. We are going to pick up where we left off in our second episode. This we decided this was going to be better off as a two-parter. So make sure you tune in for the second episode, in which we're going to cover what happens after your offer is accepted and how you basically get to the finish line, because we're not there yet. We're only about halfway through the story at the moment.
If that, yeah.
If that.
Any feedback, if you're listening as well, inbox is always open.
No, keep it to yourself for now, guys.
No fashion advice for Ben and Christian. So.
You know what? I am open to fashion advice. No, look, real talk. We're only just starting out. Things are going to be a little bit raw for the time being. We're more than open to feedback.
Be kind.
Just be
Very
kind.
kind.
Be
It
nice.
doesn't hurt to be kind.
It does. It can. It depends. No, ignore us. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
See ya.
Ciao.
That's such a good outro. Everything presented in this podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only, and all advice is to be considered general in nature. It does not take into account your personal circumstances and financial objectives. Please consider if this advice is right for you and look to consult a financial professional.